So today I'm going to talk about my tools, and these are the tools that reduce noise for me in my shooting. Because the most important thing is that the tools should bring you some peace or so that you can focus on your presence. You don't want your tools taking away attention, because anything that takes away your attention while you're shooting that you have to worry about or is disrupting you or loose is really going to disrupt everything about your shooting. And being present during a stage is absolutely essential. And there's enough distractions to pull your presence away, and your equipment should be the last thing it does. So basically start from the head down. And if you see me with the visor, probably one of the only shooters that I know that I've seen on the whole circuits that wears a visor. It's just comfortable for me, and I don't like my head covered. It's just way too hot for me. And of course, the downside that some people do have to worry about is the sun hitting the top of their head. And of course, knowing that some people are sensitive to the sun, I'm typically not with my skin, so it's not really a factor for me. So first of all, wear a visor. Second is basically my eye protection. And my eye protection are Oakleys. And these are the Prism, basically because it gives me shielding all the way around, which is nice that I don't have a lot of openings here. So they're very protective. And also they come with multiple lenses. So depending on the type of weather that's out, like now it's sunny, but I had my clear ones on because I shot a match just not too long ago that it was rainy and cloudy. So I didn't need anything dark. I needed to see better, so I had the clear ones on. But I can switch them out. They come with multiple lenses, shaded, mirrored, yellow, and clear. This is what mine came with. And so depending on the shooting condition, and if I'm shooting indoors, I can switch them out to the clear. Shooting on a bright day, I typically wear the mirror. And I usually like the mirror ones because the shading actually not only is just protected from the sun, because the sun will wear your eyes out, but this type of shading in this color, in this dark shading, actually makes my dot pop better. So when I go to pull up, the dot just really glows in a dark lens. So it doesn't take away from my vision at all and allows the dot to really pop. Next thing for me is the belt, or referred to as a rig sometimes. This is a Ghost belt, and it was a whole Ghost rig that I originally bought years ago. It's been very adequate for me. It came with the mag pouches. So these mag pouches, I could always adjust them to face out or face sideways. So I like that feature. I did wear them outside facing out for a while. Decided I didn't like to twist my wrists as much. So, and these are adjustable to where they can fit multiple size magazines. So that makes them real nice. So now I have to turn them sideways so I can just grab nice and easy and pull. So this was a really inexpensive rig, and these mag pouches, because they're adjustable, have been made it easier for whenever I did switch up to different magazines and I had different guns at different times. So because of those adjustments, it didn't matter what magazine I was running, I could adjust these basically to fit that. I wear mine backwards. You don't see that too often, but I got this from a shooter at a match years ago. I used to see some guys wearing them backwards, and I tried it out and I ended up liking it that way. Comes with a belt loop to make sure you secure it. And I like it this way because for me, it just reduces anything in front of me that I bump into, so that flap on the belt is not sitting in the front. So it just clears that for me. So for me, that's just a really nice fit. And nothing I can bump into whenever my hands are moving really fast around the front here. So for me, wearing them backwards has been just a really good setup. Now for the holster, as you can see, this is a double Kydex holster. You can see the various layers on there, the 2 layers on there. The reason why I like this setup and these holsters, double Kydex type holsters, is because they're so stiff. And they're about the stiffest you're going to get on a holster. And I like the stiffness because anything that's too flexible, the flexion causes you to holster to give, and when it flexes, it can actually hang up your pistol as you're drawing it. And a lot of times when you're drawing, you're going to be in multiple situations or multiple positions or on the move even when you're drawing, that sometimes your force is going to be pulling in different directions. And a double Kydex is not going to move at all. So there's always going to be a smooth draw, no matter what position I'm in, no matter which direction I'm going, no matter if it's a draw that's not totally perfectly straight up, if it's a little bit angled, it's not going to budge, so it's not going to get hung up. Sometimes the thinner ones, if you pull in a different direction, you'll get a little catch, and that is never good, especially whenever you're going to start a stage. This particular brand is Red Hill Tactical that I have. Another great product is GX Products. They have a great double Kydex holster as well. It's actually a buddy of mine, Leif Kunkel, started that company, and I did shoot his for years, but I keep switching guns, and just went to Red Hill because it was a little bit quicker. Leif's a super busy guy, sometimes has a big turnaround, and he's really busy, so I went with that. Sorry, Leif. But so good old Red Hill Tactical, and throw out the GX Products as well for the double Kydex holster. So back up to the head. Didn't talk about my ear protection, but I use Axle. So these are the Axle brand. These are the upgraded ones. They got 2 versions out. This is the newer version, which I have to admit the hearing protection is a lot better on these, and they're electronic. And what I love about them the most is they're on a string or on this wire, so I can just loop them down, hang them here. So I can put them in. When I need to take them out, I can just drop them and they're hanging. I don't like the ones that are independent, because if you have to take them out, where are you going to put them? I don't like putting them in my pocket. So these ones are fantastic. The electronic hearing on them is fantastic. Actually, I will admit the newer models, the hearing on them is not as strong as the older models. So I do switch these out to my older ones that they magnify the hearing a lot more, so I can actually hear more. Maybe not as much hearing protection on them, but I can hear things better. So sometimes when I'm outdoors, I use my older ones. If I'm indoors, I'll use my upgraded ones because I get better hearing protection on them. And I don't have to kind of, even though the magnification on the hearing isn't as good, I hear adequately. But most importantly, they protect my hearing indoors. Outdoors, noise is dispersed more. Don't have to worry about it as much. I really like the magnification of the hearing better on the older versions. My timer, kind of a simple timer, Shooters Global. This is the step down version, a little cheaper than their high class one that you might see online everywhere that everybody's shooting. You can do videos and stuff on them. You're supposed to be able to do videos with this one too, but it didn't connect really well. But it just gives me the adequate times that I need on my splits and everything. Very simple to use. Hundreds of different timers out there. Mine's just this cheaper Shooters Global, the cheaper version. Totally adequate for me. So all I need is my splits. So I don't get real fancy with that. Has a nice little connection here too on my belt that I just leave that on and can attach here. So it's real simple. Has a delayed timer as well. So it's perfect for me. I actually will mention my shoes as well because they're extremely important. If your feet aren't comfortable and you can't move in them, or they're slippery, that is not good. And this is just personal preference because there's so many popular brands out there. My personal preference is the Ultra Temp 5s. They have a wide toe box, which is fantastic because they're so much more comfortable than some of the Solomon's is a very popular brand out there. And yeah, they're nice, but to me, they squeeze my feet a little bit. Great traction on them, but at the end of the day, when I'm shooting a long match, this wide toe box is phenomenal. And it's a little bit of a flatter shoe and a 4mm rise on them. And so I like the flat shoes a little bit better. And they still have adequate cushioning. Another thing about the Temp 5s, they're the more of a trail shoe. So you can see those treads there. Those treads are totally adequate. And they give me plenty of traction. I wore these in the mud. This brand in the mud before, and that traction actually is still fantastic and adequate, because a lot of times when you go outdoors, you're going to be shooting in maybe grass, maybe in dirt, and then it gets wet and gets a little bit muddy, sometimes in gravel. So a little bit of grip on there is essential. So having some kind of shoe that has some kind of a good grip, maybe a trail version, or even maybe sometimes a trail running shoe that might be a little bit more comfortable, might work for you. If you're a chalk user, this is my chalk. It's the Chocolates brand black. Chocolates came out with their initial one was white. It was hard to see, but they have a black version now too. That this stuff is phenomenal. You don't even need very much of it. It doesn't make your hands chalky at all. So there's no white chalk that you might see with some other shooters shooting. Their hands are white. This one doesn't chalk up at all whatsoever. It's really nice, dries out your hands. One application is all I've ever had to use at the beginning of a match. I've never had to re-chalk my hands, I think, whenever I use this stuff ever, no matter how long the match was. So, Chocolates, really good stuff. Now, last but not least, of course, is the pistol. So my pistol of choice, that after years of shooting multiple pistols, ended up going to the 1911 double stack platform. That became super popular right now. I love it as well. Just perfect trigger pulls, straight back on that. Bull Armory. This is the TAC Pro 5-inch. It's the ported barrels, if you can see that. And it's all about what feels good to you, as well as whenever you're shooting it, for your grip, for however you shoot. This is a very flat shooter for me, so I get very little dot rise. Have a light in the front of mine, TLR 1HL stream light. Super bright, pretty inexpensive compared to how lights go. Relatively small, not too big. So it's real nice. I shot IDPA, so sometimes on the indoors, it's almost essential to have a light. So this is super bright. And also now I'm hooked on a light because it actually helps with the muzzle rise, preventing the muzzle rise with that little bit of weight. So I've become very addicted to the light. So I'll always have that on there. As far as my optic, it's a Sky Raider. I don't know if you can see that, flip that around. Sky Raider from Lux Tactical. I love this optic because the window is so big and it's super clear. And I think one of the big sellers on it for me was I actually met the owner and their reps at a match, and they were super cool. And the customer service is absolutely amazing on them. I did have an issue with some of the pads coming off on the side for the plus and minus. They're nice and big too for your plus and minus and changing that dot, which I love because I hate playing with the small buttons on them. These buttons are nice and large. I had the buttons fall off on my first one, but I shot it for a whole season, crazy amount of times, called them up, literally just messaged the guy, and Scott's his name, who I was dealing with, and he literally instantly sent me a return and got me a new one out super quick, super fast, easy to deal with, no fuss, no muss. That's what I loved about them. And so loved them so much, I actually wanted to see if they'd give me a coupon code, and they did. So RobertWV RobertWV is a 10% discount code on that Lux Tactical. So if you get anything from Lux Tactical when you use that, please do. 10% discount, and it's a super optic, great customer service. They have a Gen 1 and Gen 2 out now. The only difference I think with the Gen 2 is they put more reticles in there, which I'm not a big reticle fan. I am a 2 MOA guy, and so I like the small dot. And they put more reticles in the Gen 2, and they also made it brighter. So when you're outdoors, you can actually brighten it a little bit more than the first generation one. First generation was always adequate for me, but I got the Gen 2, and I have to admit I do like the little extra brightness on a super bright day. Came in handy, I think, one match, but I still like the Gen 1 as well. So Gen 1, Gen 2, you can get a better deal on the Gen 1 now, obviously, because the Gen 2s are out. But give them a look for sure whenever you're looking at it, because the price point is fantastic for this optic. Super clear, very big window, and top-notch customer service. So there's my shout out to Lux Tactical on that one. And just to show you a quick look at my bag here, and I just grabbed some things out of it. But what I have in my bag, what I carry in my bag, carry just some D-lead wipes for after a match, get the lead off. I always keep lens wipes in there. If you're running a 1911 double stack, then I think carrying lube all the time is a must to make sure that you stay lubed during a long match if necessary. Tylenol is essential at my age to have in your bag. Got an extra belt loop in here. My bullets as well, of course. Magazine loader that I have. And so I have that. I don't even use it too often because I'm just more traditional as far as hand loading. But if for whatever reason, when I'm just first getting loaded and I load up all the way, then that comes in nice and handy. Also, try to keep just a little shout out to this little product here, these honey stingers. I have to admit, these are just quick, good energy for a long match. And that's pretty much it. These are my tools. I hope you learned something. If you want to talk more, comment below on the video at any time. Love to talk to you about equipment. So in the meantime, I appreciate you watching the video and walking the steel path with me. I hope you stay tuned for some more. I'm going to be releasing my second season here pretty soon. It's going to start going into a little bit more in depth into presence and how to actually practice presence with everything you do, and utilizing presence in every aspect of your shooting. So hope you stay tuned.